We'll start with if there's anyone here who is planning to talk today in the audience, if you don't mind signing in if you haven't done so already. We're going to begin with the pledge of allegiance. That's all right. And silence your phones if you have phones as well. Great. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And for the BZA, can we do it just a roll call for the members over here?
Sure. Don Sutton. Jason Acevedo.
Here.
Larry Herman.
Here.
Brad Cook.
Here.
Michelle Cook. Here. Jessica Kingsley. Here. And Quinn Mackett.
Here. Great. So for today, key things organizationally, we have the election of the chairperson, vice chairperson for 2025. And then after that, we'll approve the BZA minutes. So we'll start with the election of chairperson. So do I have any nominations for a chairperson?
Don Sutton. I'll second.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, was that Larry and
Larry?
Right.
Brad seconded? Okay. All right. And who is seated then? Is it Quinn or is it Quinn? Okay. Okay. Mr. Herman?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Mackett?
Yes.
Let's see, Mr. Acevedo?
Yes.
And Mrs. Cook?
Yes.
All right. And then moving on to vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Jason Acevedo for vice chair.
I'll second that.
Okay, Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Herman?
Yes.
Let's see, Mr. Mackett?
Yes.
And Mr. Acevedo?
Yes. All right, so we're going to roll on the elected chairperson or seat chairperson Don Sutton, and then myself for vice chair for 2025. For BZA minutes, motion to approve the BZA minutes for October 17, 2024. Motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve BZA minutes for October 17, 2024.
Second.
Mr. Mackett?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Herman?
Yes.
Mr. Acevedo?
Yes. All right. Is there any other outstanding business? There's nothing that I have on the agenda. So there's nothing else. We can adjourn the BZA portion of the meeting and I can hand it over to the BZC.
Great, thank you. Happy holidays, you guys. We want to have a quick break. You guys want to stick around and head now? Sure. I didn't mean to make that sound so unhealthy, but. Usually there's a stampede. And I'm like,
We're good. Thank you. Have a happy holiday.
all right, so BZC.
Sure. Darcy Kaplan? Here. Angela Brown? Here. Jenny Sos?
Here.
Tara Shields? Jasper DeChristopher? Keith Gosha?
Here.
Thank you. So we also are tasked with electing a chairperson and a vice chairperson for 2025. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Darcy Kaplan as chair.
Second.
Ms. Sos?
Yes.
Mr. Who got that one? Who seconded it? It was the same.
I'll take it up closer.
Okay, Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Gosha?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Kaplan?
Yes. All right, and we need nominations, please, for a vice chairperson 2025.
I'll nominate Angela Brown as vice chair.
I will second that.
Ms. Close?
Yes.
Ms. Kaplan?
Yes.
Mr. DeChristopher?
Yes.
Mr. Goshen?
Aye.
And let's see, Ms. Brown?
Yes.
So we have before us on our agenda a bunch of meeting dates for 2025. We typically meet on the second and fourth Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. here. So these dates kind of line up with that. There are two question marks. One of those is March 25th. Apparently that's over spring break, so I know a lot of you guys are impacted by that. Do we want to just not include that in our calendar? Or add in-
I know we usually remove it, Tara's usually gone, I will definitely be gone.
Yeah, I might be gone out.
Yeah.
Kathy, do we have the okay to just take that one off? And if we needed to add a special meeting?
We can.
Well, if I go ahead and put it in, and everybody's out for spring break, I could just put it on the website that there will not be a meeting.
Okay,
Okay,
that's good, yeah, that works.
all right, okay by me.
So I'll go ahead and advertise that one.
Okay.
So you have some Wednesday dates on here as well?
Just one.
Well,
Actually,
the 26th
The
is.
26th, I think that's a typo, it should be the 25th. Yep, you're fine. I was like, oh wait, I think that is,
25th, the 27th is Thanksgiving.
yeah.
Oh, okay, so where's my typo?
11/26, it should be 11/25.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay.
You're good.
Sharp eyes, I didn't catch that. There is some question about whether we want to have a meeting on Tuesday, the 11th of November, because that is Veterans Day. Is that,
That's what
are we okay with me?
Yeah,
that's all.
Let's not change that one then, leave that alone. So that means we will advertise the date as, I'm confused, the way it's written.
11/12.
11/12 will be the date, not 11/13. All right,
No, 11/11 is the Tuesday.
okay, so it won't be
11/12 is a Wednesday. If you want to stay on Tuesday, it goes to 11/11.
Thank you.
So
Okay,
so wait, are we allowed to have it on Veterans Day, or we need to move it to Wednesday?
Well, I mean, it's a national holiday.
We won't be here.
Then we can, well,
I
are
can't
you
do
guys
Wednesday.
okay with it being Wednesday?
I can't do Wednesday.
You can't?
No.
Yeah.
That'll be,
It's a federal holiday.
It's a federal holiday.
okay.
So I didn't know if you wanted to bump it to Wednesday, or if you just.
Wednesday.
Lisa can't be here because that's her meeting.
Okay.
Skip it.
Can we visit it can you put it on Wednesday right now, and then we can always move it as we get closer?
Or
Tuesday,
put it on
Yeah, just
Tuesday
Tuesday.
and then.
Okay,
that might be
but
better.
you guys won't be here, right? Because it's already a holiday.
as long as,
Right, we're all, the offices are closed.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so it's closed.
So do you want me to do Wednesday or?
I would keep it Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll keep it
since it's gonna be
Tuesday.
a problem with Lisa.
Yeah, and by that time, something might change.
Yeah. And then we can always reschedule it if we need to, or cancel if we don't have anything.
So, go ahead and put in 11/11.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll keep 325 for right now, like you said. We'll do 11/11 and then 11/25 instead of 11/26. And I checked the first day of school is August 20th because we always have that issue with open house and everything before, so we're fine on August 12th.
Okay.
Because they're always on Tuesdays. Open houses are.
Okay. All right, do we need to have a motion to approve those dates? I mean, we do.
As amended.
I'm sorry?
As amended. We made
As
a couple
amended, thank you, yes. Okay, are you making the motion?
changes. Yeah.
All right.
I'll make a motion to
The
approve
motion.
the dates as amended. Second.
Mr. Goshen,
Aye.
Mr. DeChristopher,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Lopes,
Yes.
Ms. Kaplan,
Yes. All right, we also have before us our meeting minutes from November 26th, which hopefully everybody got to review. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Lopes,
Yes.
Mr. DeChristopher,
Yes.
Mr. Gosha? Ms. Kavler?
Yes. All right, so, it's our last meeting of the year, so if you could sign these before you leave, that would be awesome. Happy. Have to fight the headache. All right, so we will move on, and we've got a final development, application, final development hearing, Carside Evans Farm, Phase 1. Lisa, can you confirm if that final development meeting time is at?
Yes, in the November 23rd, 2024 Delaware Gazette.
Thank you. All right, so our Rockford Home representatives look like just you?
It's just
All
me.
by yourself? Okay.
Yes.
Well, then I mentioned to the people in the audience, please, if you have not signed into our roster, please do that. All right,
Okay, great, thank you for having me back. My name is Jim Lipno from Rockford Homes. We were here back in November of 2023, so a little over a year ago with the preliminary development plan amendment, which subsequently went to several meetings of the trustees and was approved on March of 2024. So in March of 2024, it was approved, final development plan, or I'm sorry, preliminary development plan amendment was approved with 8 conditions. Does the board have those conditions? Okay, because I'm prepared to read them into the record one by. So if the board has them, you can mark it as one of the exhibits. But there are 8 conditions, all of which are reflected in the final development plan submittal that was submitted last month. And the FDP for phase 1 is for 39 lots on approximately 25 acres. If you remember, the minimum lot size was increased to 72-foot wide lots. We have 2 lot sizes, 72 foot wide and 77 foot wide. They have differing setbacks. They're 6 foot on the 72 foot wide lots. So that's the setbacks are 25 in the front, 35 in the rear, and 6 foot on the side yards. Did get approval today for the bonding amount on the widening of Hollenbach Road. So that will be part of the engineering approval process for phase 1 development. We expect those approvals to hit by the end of the year, in which case then we are already out to bid on the development excavating, and we will start construction probably in March by the time we get our PTI through the EPA, and we would start construction probably then in March, and housing construction probably start late summer, early fall in the development. So that's it in a nutshell. If you've got any questions, I'm prepared to answer them.
I have a couple, I'll start off. On your application, you say you're 30.206 acres. On one piece of paperwork, you say you're 25.1, and on another piece of paperwork, you say you're 24.58. I don't know what acres you really are.
So it's 25.1 until the right of way is dropped, then it drops that, but it's a 24 point whatever.
24.8.
Yeah, so there's a discrepancy, or not a discrepancy, but when we do the right of way drop.
I'm just trying to see how we got 3 different acres.
Yeah, and then the first one is actually an error because that's the parcel that we purchased.
Calculating the acreage per house per lot for which
After the right of way drop, so the 24.
Not the 30.
Yeah, not the 30, no.
And then the other question I had too was about your traffic study. It was from 2016.
Yeah, so the traffic study, and you have to apologize because I don't have that whole lot of information on the traffic study, but the traffic study was done as an overall TIS for all of Evans Farm with that density. And so when that was approved, when we met with the county after we were here in 2023 for the PDP amendment, and we were adding back in the exit entrance onto Southhold State. They did not require a revised traffic study at that point because that was the original condition. If we removed that, then they were going to ask for for a revision of the traffic study.
Yeah, I don't think we should have a revision. I mean, that's almost a decade old. How much growth has happened out here in that area?
The original traffic study contemplated all of Evans Farm with the densities that.
I understand Evans Farm, but everything that Berlin's put into all the other
Mhm.
around here, right? Berlin Manor, Hill, whatever we have, different neighborhoods impacted every road in this area now.
Right, so our traffic improvement requirements are the 3-lane section on Hollenbach Road. There's no traffic improvements needed for South State. That's a county project, including the intersection. And so that's why we're bonding the portion of Hollenbach Road.
Bond.
Yeah, and that is, so all those traffic improvements can be coordinated, so the disruption is held to a minimum.
All right, I just didn't want to see a bottleneck all of a sudden occur because we have a decade of traffic stuff.
Completely understood. The county did not require it to be updated.
Other questions? You,
I just had a couple things. I noticed in the language you have your design standards. You call out that, your attached garages will all be set back 2 feet
From the front
facade.
From the front facade, but that the front facade is, I think, defined as including the front porch.
Includes the front porches. When I looked through your example plans for your different models, I'm like, 8 of them that didn't meet that requirement.
Okay, so what I included were kind of our current brochures for it. Our Evans Farm lineup, when we get to the point where we're building the home, will meet that. We have to do those revisions yet. We didn't do them until after we got our approvals.
Okay,
But
so these were just examples,
They're
they're not
examples,
the actual.
Yeah, to give a flavor of the town.
Okay, that was
Yeah.
one question, I just was looking for clarification along that line.
Yeah, the text would definitely govern on that.
And then I'll bring it up because I think someone else will, I don't. One of our approval conditions was we did not technically approve vinyl. We said that we would only approve it at this meeting.
Right. So we talked about that, and so the recommendation from zoning commission, which is a recommending body to the trustees, approved the application as, well, I don't want to say as submitted, because they had 8 conditions. The vinyl was approved as is by the trustees.
At what point do we get a change?
Afterward.
Okay, thank you.
Those are my 2.
yeah, I had that same question too, because if I'm right recalling, and I'm wrong, you were gonna bring in samples.
Yeah, and we signed off on that January 9th. We approved it with that condition.
Yes, I understand that, so, but the zoning commission recommends to the trustees, and the trustees approve the vinyl as is.
I think we still need samples.
Yeah,
I can bring samples here.
You have that?
I do not have them.
Yeah, we had a lot of dialogue about that, and I understand the trustees sort of said, they're okay with this, but, we had some questions about, oh my gosh, I guess just aesthetics of it and what the materials were gonna be. You did, because you said it was preliminary, we'll have that later.
Correct, yeah, I understand
And this is
that.
later.
Right. Yeah, I understand that, and probably some wires crossed with the trustees, because, boy, we got into the details of, mailboxes being plumbed and,
Oh, yeah.
it's normal.
like, I mean, we got into the weeds, so, I thought we were good at that point.
Okay. Well, I understand that they did, say vinyl's okay, which I'm gonna talk to them about it, because it seems we have a little bit different.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
I think we had 3 meetings on it too, so.
Sure, okay.
But I guess what I don't like is that when did the trustees sign off on?
March 11th.
We get a lot of, kickback about vinyl too, so like, us now just saying, all good.
Yeah, I can't
It's not great for us as far as setting a precedent that we're just gonna let vinyl in, which is why we, at least that was my thought on, meeting, like this specifically says, we wanna see the specific elevations.
Okay.
And we don't have that either.
Now it's like, this is our only shot at you right now.
Yeah, and yeah, I understand that. I can't remember if it was at this meeting or the trustees meetings where, I mean, we specifically talked about the vinyl and one of the audience members mentioned, we care about that. We care about the buffer and the traffic issue. I think it might have been here.
Well, they might not care, that might not be their priority, but it is our priority as a board. So we care about all of it. But in addition, when we were going through the fact that you were reducing your setback on the sides, and then we discussed vinyl, it was one entire conversation.
Yeah, I don't believe the setback changed on the sides. I think so.
No, it didn't. So that's my point is, you're
Yeah.
still 12 feet between
Yeah.
properties instead of 25. And when we had that entire discussion, we discussed vinyl on the sides with such a small setback on the sides, question mark. So that's where we're all having a question right now, is because if the trustees said, okay, that's for us to discuss with the trustees.
Okay.
But on the other hand, we're setting a precedent with you right now.
Understood.
And you were supposed to bring in specific elevations with the actual vinyl that was going to be proposed.
I did commit to that, and I do apologize. It's been over a year since we met, so I should have done that. And brought in the revised elevations. but-
And if you look at the trustee meeting and our meeting,
Yeah,
what we show as being approved is the application with amendment number 2. And the trustee's motion is to approve BZC 16001 with amendment 2. So essentially by them approving amendment 2, they approved what we proposed, which is what you signed about the final
the vinyl.
approval. So they may not have gotten into the details, but the way it's worded in the way they motioned it, they approved the fact that we said final development would approve, the final development plan was the approval point for vinyl.
Okay, I'd have to review that with my dad.
So, and that's just the way I'm wording the way the amendment numbers
Okay.
are lined up. And then the additional conditions of what you would have had. Which are
The 8 conditions
them.
from the
Yeah.
trustees.
So to me, it reads as they approved our amendment with your additional 8 that they specifically called out.
Okay. I took that as our application that we submitted, we didn't include any conditions on the application that I submitted. And they approved it with the 8 conditions as listed, which did not include the vinyl.
I guess we'll have to talk with them about whether we would need, if we have approved it on conditions, whether moving forward we would need to include, maybe we need to include all of those conditions or word it differently so it's more clear. But that was not something we were overriding, but rather incorporating into, like this is addition to that.
Well,
Yeah.
I've already said that, but my opinion on it, so, I mean, that's things.
Right, because this is the final, so
Yeah.
we don't have elevations and we don't, have what was agreed upon by the parties here. That puts us in a bind a little bit.
I understand that. Puts me in a bit of a bind too, because I'm clearly looking for approval tonight.
Sure.
In my respectful opinion, my application, final development plan application, meets all the requirements of the approved preliminary development plan.
Well, let me unwind this a little, because I know you're saying you guys got in the way with the trustees and they did that. So I'm sure they put you through it. I get it. I appreciate that. But these 8 conditions, once again, it does not call out the vinyl, which was one of our big questions. So, to your point, you feel like they approved it in toto, but it's not written here. So where would we hold you to that agreement?
Could you rephrase that, like when you say,
I can try.
So, okay, go ahead, try again.
Levi, I'm gonna lean on you a little bit. So as an enforcement issue, where in any of this language is there the ability to, I don't like the word enforce, but have the expectation that these materials are what we have asked for?
So, well, you asked Levi, but if I can interject, or you can.
Go ahead and then I'll follow.
Okay. In the development text, the materials are listed under the architecture. There's like 3 pages of architecture.
Right.
So the material list is in there.
Okay. So your thought is because the trustees approved it with just these 8, that vinyl was.
Yes.
Let's say you Levi.
Where's the material list in there? I saw it.
It's under the architectural requirements. So it's going to be on-
Because that's not our architectural requirements. That's what.
No, they were submitted as part of the final development, which takes the.
So it's on page 8/9.
Yeah, it takes the overall, development text from Evans Farm and modifies it for Parkside at Evans Farm, and where it's silent, Evans Farm overall can go. So page,
Page 9.
yeah, starting on page 8 are the architectural standards, so the exterior.
It's on the end,
Yeah.
the 0.46 inch. It's a pretty heavy vinyl siding. It's not the natural stuff that you guys had recommended, so. But it's what the trustees approved based on what I see. And what was amendment 2 exactly? We have that. Let me read that. It says, approval of BZC 1601, farm amendment 2 application. Okay. Taking precedence over the earlier exhibits. So did amendment 2 include the natural, the other materials? It would all kind of hinge on that.
I don't know the answer to that. Do you have from our meeting?
So on the back of the conclusion sheet is all the conditions that you guys submitted, and Joe, or Jim and Darcy, you guys signed off on it. On 1/9/2024.
So that's where it says vinyl subject to
Yeah.
approval on specific allocations with visual samples provided at time development. And I don't think we've met that.
So when we go to the trustees, it comes with your recommendations,
Right.
and the trustees
Right.
voted on it
Yeah.
with these 8 conditions added. And so they
So they did not address our,
contemplated and
they did not address our amendment, in other words, is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And you all have the trustee minutes.
Yeah, we have the minutes though. Is
Yeah.
this the full minutes? Because this is from the 26th and then like there's no minutes
There's no
from
minutes
March
on it.
11th to see what they talked about.
What I have highlighted is where they came back, like, I just did parts of,
Yeah.
just.
there are also 3, we were at the trustee meeting 3 different times. So we were, I think, January, February, and March.
This is March.
March was the approval.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's.
That's when the approval
I was
was.
That was the
just
plan.
trying to see whether it was discussed or not. This is where the one step, isn't it? It's kind of nice because we don't have this problem,
Right.
but
So, were we to approve this tonight, final does not go back to the trustees, right?
This is it. And
Yeah.
this is,
This is as approved by the trustees. So if the trustees approved it without the natural materials at 0.046 siding, that's just how they approved it. I don't think there's a lot that we can do about the trustees' decision.
Even if we vote it down, they go forward.
What's
I
that?
said, even if we vote it down, they go forward, because the trustees have already approved it.
Well, I would need final development approval
Yeah.
from this board, but this board's tasked with, does the final development plan as submitted meet the requirements of the approved preliminary development plan?
I see your point. I'm not happy about it, frankly, because this is final. This is all we got, once again, back to, and I don't like the word enforcement, but holding that standard.
Understood.
The way we intended, and I understand there was a lot more that happened after that.
So is the intent to do all the houses with vinyl? I mean, you get all the other stone, manufactured stone, hardy plank, you're gonna do.
Yeah, the vinyl is just a component of the elevations. We have a lot of natural materials on.
Okay, it's not like a whole side of the house.
It's, I mean, some of them may be all vinyl, but we have a lot of accent materials on all the houses.
But there's nothing limiting you from making it.
Correct.
100%.
Correct. That's, it could be 100%, then it'd be way,
And you haven't called out the elevations and where it would be. Darcy, is it possible to take a 10-minute recess and actually call the trustees?
I suppose, yeah.
Can we do that?
We can get it in.
What's that? I'm
Can we
sorry.
take a 10-minute recess and actually call the trustees?
you have to get everybody, though, the problem, you can't just do a single person. You just can't call maybe.
Yeah, you can't just call on trustees.
Right.
You gotta get everybody.
And that's, yep.
And then if
We
they're
got
all on there, it's a meeting. It's a public meeting.
Right.
You have all the trustees, you can't get them together to talk to them
Yeah, my
without
understanding
making
is
a public
we
meeting.
can break to speak with council, but I don't actually think we can.
We can't call it.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, I like the idea. I think it's, I just don't think we can do that. Well. Do we have other questions besides?
Yeah, I do. So the path that goes by the, are there gonna be any benches?
You're talking about in the central green, I forget what sub-area that's called. There's gonna be a lot of programming in there. There's, first of all, the male gazebo area will be in there, pickleball courts, there'll be, bleachers, I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of the right word.
Benches?
Benches, bleachers for the spectators and or people waiting to play pickleball. And then the path around it, there'll be just different stations for benches and trash receptacles. Now, that's all not built in phase one, some of that.
Right, I guess I was just curious about isn't there a path that goes like in the central, line drive?
Yeah.
I was just curious if there was any size path, whether there would be any benches along that area.
Yeah, and if you're looking at, what page is this? But the page that shows the grading and the path on it, the little gazebo, item number 3, the pavilion.
G2.
But G2 is the name of the company.
Oh, sorry, exhibit D.
Right before page D.
So you plan on adding benches somewhere, or they're just not on here?
Well, the pavilion's on there, but the benches, I mean, they're part of the landscape hardscape package.
I guess I can see it.
No, they weren't shown.
So I'm gonna ask you a question. This is phase one, and what are our total phases for this?
Total phases,
Yeah.
10.
So when you come back for final developments on those,
Yes.
may we make a
Yeah.
serious request?
Yeah.
So worst case scenario, and I'm not happy to build, how many houses?
39.
39 houses.
You will be pleased with that.
Okay. Looking forward to that.
I do understand, I do apologize, I really, I should have come with those materials. It slipped my mind after everything you went
But
through.
we try to be consistent, you know, across the
Yeah,
board.
and I should-
The builders and developers, these are our expectations, this is what we want, once again, this is final, and I see your point, okay, and I know you see ours.
I,
We're not trying to be too big a pain in the neck. However, yeah, you have a part of mind that we want to know. So,
I understand and I apologize.
And then, there's nothing mentioned about size of garages, like are you committing to a certain percentage of which?
On side-load garages, no. You know, 72 foot wide lot, not all that easily to get side-load garages. The only areas where we potentially would have side-load garages are on corner lots.
I saw, as far as like the exterior lighting, you know, it doesn't mention anything about only down lighting, and that's one thing that's required in the township, so it's that only down lighting.
So downlighting with the exterior lighting that I had listed in the development, that's with a lamp post for each house out of the street. Now that's not typically downlighting. It's like a coach lamp.
okay, it's not uplighting.
Yeah.
So that.
Oh, yeah, it's a coach lamp.
And then, like, for example, I know that there was one of the conditions from the trustees. I guess what I hate about all these handwritten conditions, like, not only for you guys, for Levi to have to enforce it, but even like, when the HOA is trying to figure this stuff out, like, if we're only referring to this one handwritten document, having to find it is kind of a challenge to know all the specifics. So like, for example, where it says like the HOA will be turned over 85%, I don't see it. It's mentioned about the HOA in here, but it doesn't specify when that gets turned over. Or like the fountain, it says the spray will be a minimum of 10 foot in height.
Oh,
It
it's
has
in
to
foot
be out
height.
in text, so that like when we want to enforce it or anybody's looking at it, it's obvious. It's not like a where's Waldo.
I could revise the text and add that to the text.
I would be more comfortable with that. Also, I just had questions, like when and this is where like not having, there being 3 meetings and us like coming back to it, it's just kind of confusing, but like when they were talking about removing the 29 homes and saying something about they should be relocated to Exhibit 12, what are you talking about there?
So there was extensive conversation on if we were reducing the density in ours, the overall Evans Farm development is allowed a certain maximum density.
Right.
And so the 29 units we were going to reduce, Evans Farm could potentially add in other areas of Evans Farm. And so the trustees wanted to make sure they knew where those units were going, so you potentially wouldn't, the worst case scenario is like jam a whole bunch of units like right next to an existing homeowner. So they wanted to see that. So the Evans Farm Development Group submitted a proposal of where they would put those 29 units, and that was approved. And that was what Exhibit 12 was.
So where's that going?
Where does that document go?
No, where are the houses going? Is it
Oh, they were on the other side of the railroad tracks, the west side of the railroad tracks, in one of the areas over there. I don't precisely remember, but Evans Farm.
And then it's hard to tell, like, it looks like there's a temporary, CDU, is that what that is?
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
so then when another phase is done, that's.
Yeah, so it comes in phase 2. That's where we build the pickleball courts, the quote unquote post office with the mail gazebo. So there'll be, a parking lot, ADA, accessible, everything for the post office, the main CBU location underneath the pavilion.
Okay, that's all I have.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't feel comfortable with it. I don't feel comfortable with it because we haven't updated the text with what's in these. I understand where you're coming from with the vinyl. I don't feel comfortable with that because we said that we needed to see it on approved. The trustees signed off on that. We can agree to disagree right now that the trustees just overwrote what we said there, that we needed to see it. But the reality is that you don't have the actual elevations like you're required to have per your text and then per this. So we've discussed everything that I wanted to bring to you, all the questions I had, going off of one of Jenny's, when there's benches, we want to see where they are. We also want to see what they look like. That should actually be so that it can be held accountable. Because there's no way to hold accountable if it's not in there. So I just want to say for the record, I'm not comfortable with it. I know you're looking for a final approval, but there are too many things that didn't actually get put within this that, as we were saying, to go and find where's Waldo with these later is not the way that we do this.
I agree the process isn't, the handwritten thing isn't the most ideal. It's the way Burlington Township's operated.
And we also have people come back, when they come back for final development plan, these things are actually in their text.
I thought that I added all of them, but I probably missed the 85% and stuff like that, but I can have the text revised and resubmitted.
That's all I have.
So we do have some audience members. Once again, I hope you have signed in. Now the commission has asked questions. I will ask for those who want to speak, please give your name and address so you can enter it in the record.
Yeah, I'm David Hayes on 3049 Halifax Road. I guess I attended the meeting back in November of last year, and I clearly remember the conversation. That was a huge concern. The commitment was made to bring samples back to this group. A discussion of natural vinyl. That look is very appealing, very attractive, and basically offset the concern of not having like all natural materials. So I guess as a neighbor, I just wanted to make that clear. I assume the other houses are the backs of the houses are going to face Hollenbeck Road. Okay, so if we don't go with that natural looking vinyl, we're just going to have what we call plain vinyl facing the Hollenbeck Road, which I quite frankly would not be afraid of. Okay, so as a neighbor, I wasn't super comfortable with the vinyl, but understand that was the direction we're going to go. So I guess the question I've got is, if in future phases I'll use the word catch up. I don't know if that's right, but we're kind of catch up to that final decision. Okay, and get back in process. Why can't the builder commit to doing that for the current phase? Okay, so that's my why. So I get that there's a kind of a technicality that maybe was I'm used to remiss, just trying to test work it out and understand kind of what we're used to. But why can't we just do it? Why can't we catch up to the vinyl and say, we've got these samples, here's what we're going to use, because that was the commitment. I'm really worried about it, okay, because I think I shared in the last meeting I was here that I was concerned when Evans Farms came in, and I sat through all the meetings back in whatever it was, 2016. The description was, high end, all front porch living, just all these really nice custom build homes. And we're going away from custom build to more, I use the word production, just kind of production homes. And so that was already somewhat disappointing, that we weren't going to have all these custom kind of look homes like we're seeing at Evans Farms, that are currently going in. And then drop the vinyl plank on top of that. So I'm just speaking as a homeowner. I know there's not a lot of folks here. I was kind of shocked when people here tonight. But I just don't find to be the big issue, you know, and I know me, and it comes down, I'm in business, it comes down to cost. Okay, so going with cheaper vinyl is better for, it's better for the builder, it's better for profit, it's better for margins. So I just ask that the zoning commission, I don't know what the difference is between zoning commission and whatever the other, but they should just be highly considerate of that. Because also I remember the original argument was from the builder that that people want people basically want vinyl nowadays, the high end, because it doesn't have to be painted. It's going to have a really nice natural look. It's going to be better for the environments and all that. But I mean, it's just in reality as a business, it comes down to cost. Okay, and it comes down to it being cheaper to build. So, all right, I ran a little bit, but I just really do think it's important, and I just think if the decision going forward is going to be go to the natural vinyl for 90% or less of the development, why not just you know, have the you know, just have the builder commit to. I'll put the we'll put the natural high end thick vinyl on, put it on that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Other comments? No? Quiet people out there? You have one? Go ahead, please.
Sure. Jessica Kinsley, 389 Mariners Way. So I haven't looked at the records y'all are referencing, but based on what you're saying, I would implore you potentially to seek other legal counsel for the interpretation, especially the way that amendment is written, to really have clarity on what the intent of that approval of the trustees was. For what it's worth.
Thank you. All right, anybody else?
My name is Cyril Obert. I live at 2847 Pebble Drive. I'm actually an Orange Township resident, so my comments may be meaningless to you, or I'll add to my comments. My property abuts the property that will abut to what you're going to amend. And to his comment, which is kind of funny to me, Evans Farm is actually doing, you know, the whole Evans Farm is 1,200 acres. The density was approved 10 years ago with the intent. But what they are now doing is the property that'll be to the south of him, if this gets approved, is patio homes and condominiums, is what they're proposing. So at the zoning meeting that EPCON was at, we had 110 residents appear in opposition to that. So Evans Farm is monkeying around with the zoning, saying, oh no, the density doesn't change. We'll get it at the end. It's still the same. You can shake your head. I don't really care. Because the acreage that they were talking about originally was 54 homes. They're going to put 168 units in a spot that was supposed to be 54. I think the lot size is 54 feet wide. So what I think, at least for you guys, and I'm going forward by, is be cognizant of that density, because, you know, they moved to 29, you don't know where they went. They're packing them in now along Old State, which is a whole, to your point on the traffic study, it's a 10-year-old traffic study. Old State, in our meeting, and I actually think you made the comment, oh, go to the county, that's a county issue. It may be a county issue, but we are all the ones going to live with, try going down Old State, now put 168 condominium units and patio homes in there, add to, I think your 300 units is what your full plan is going to be. So you start talking about that, look at Hollenbach, look at Old State, Evans Farm is selling it, and so at the end of it, what's going to happen? Once I pack them all in my density, I run out of room, I'll come back for an amendment and say, hey, I just got this little bit left here, my density is off. I think you guys have a bigger problem, and I think the hope is, I got this township over here, I got this township over here, Evans Farm marries over top of it. You may or not be aware of what's going on in Orange. It's a big problem, and it's going to get worse. I had 110 of my neighbors come to the meeting adamant against it. EPCON immediately tabled it. Why? They didn't want 110 angry neighbors bitching and complaining. And it went on for 3 hours. again, the comment, oh, we'll talk to, you need to come with us to the county to get the roads fixed. You're gonna have a bigger issue here, and I think you guys are on the forefront of this. I think, and unfortunately for you, you're getting stuck in the hornet's nest that's coming. So, you know, it was different, because my house is a half-acre lot. One of my neighbors just sold 750, I think he sold it for. Now you're gonna jam a patio home, or some of my neighbors are gonna get condominiums jammed up to them. So you think about the density, when you talk about density, a 54 by 120, that's a sixth of an acre lot now, not a half acre. And then the condominiums are 4 units, but they're a little bigger, but they're really about a 12th of an acre per unit. So you get into this units and space and all that, and I think you're gonna get, oh yeah, I'm gonna pack it in here, I'll make it up on the back end. I'll get the density right on the back end. When you run it, then all of a sudden what'll happen, hey, I got an amendment, let me fix the density a little bit. So there's a bigger issue, and that's why I'm here tonight. I mean, I'm not a resident of your township, I abut your, but I mean, this is going to be, and it's becoming to be a bigger problem. Evans Farms, oh, it's gonna be wonderful, it's gonna be half-acre lots, it's gonna be this, be that. That was a 10-year sell. What happened in the last 10 years? They didn't sit, they're not selling like they were, so they started lotting them off. Oh, here, let me sell a little chunk here to Bob Webb. Oh, let me sell a little chunk off to Evans Farm. Let me sell to now, you know, Rockford. Let me sell a chunk off here, where they were all supposed to be these half-acre lots, this happy-go-lucky. This is the problem that's coming down the pike. So I apologize for interrupting.
All right, anybody else?
I'm Rick, I'm with Evans Farm, 5897 Pine Road. I'm not going to speak directly to that last comment because our density is, the density we have at Evans Farm is what we have. We have X amount of units over so many acres. In a project of 1,200 acres, over time, things get shifted, and I will agree with them. But the overall density is not changing, not for your side, not for their side. The same amount of houses that we were granted to build will be built, and quite frankly, probably not even close to as many as we were granted because there's just not that much ground to do it. So I understand the angst, I do. The South State Road problem is a problem today, not because of what we're doing. It's already a problem. And so to do a build out, for instance, what was just discussed, of 161 homes that will take 5 to 7 years to finish, is not the problem that exists on South State today. There's a $24 million in road improvements that we participated in over time. So our participation, while everybody doesn't think so, is solid, and we commit to it, and we have to do it. So I appreciate comments, I do. This is Berlin, not Orange Township, and so therefore we're trying to get our setup here going to Berlin. We start with Rockford, and keep moving.
Mike, can I get your last name, please?
Toll, T-O-W-L-E.
I got a couple more questions. I live on Hollenbeck Road, as I mentioned. The widening of Hollenbeck Road, is the entire widening going to be going south, or if I live in the north of Hollenbeck, is a portion of that going to be coming out of my yard? Is that a question for this group, or?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Zoning and road construction are not really having much intersection. We're dependent on looking at the traffic studies. And, occasionally builders do have to make statements about, third lanes or emergency egress, things like that. We do have to review. But the widening, I don't know if anybody can answer that.
Is that a question the builder would have answer to, like with Rockford?
Possibly, but really that is going to be more like what engineering, kind of engineering.
I mean, it's a question for the Delaware County engineer.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know the alignment on it. Yeah. We're bonding our section of it to work with them when they do the intersection improvement on South State and Hollenbach Road, and when Evans Farm does other improvements on Hollenbach Road. So I don't know, none of that's even been designed or engineered at this point. So you can ask them. I don't even think they would know the answer. Obviously, if they go to the property from you, they would be approaching it.
Yeah.
I will tell you, when some developments we do know when they're going through final, and that's based off of what was already in the works. So we had a better idea when like Mauve Meadows and Berlin Bluffs, God, they're all named the same. When they were going for it, we already knew about Cheshire Road because of things were already in the works. So sometimes we do know, and the developer's aware, but I couldn't even tell you what percent of the time.
I understand the developer doesn't know, but also the developer, don't they have to like build that into their overall design? Like how they portion lots and all that kind of stuff?
If those impact their property,
Yeah.
but if it's,
Yes.
you know, north-south or not contiguous, then not necessarily.
For clarification, we're dropping right away. So we're giving land to the road widening.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if it's,
You're giving land, not me giving land.
well, I don't know that it's all going on, it might be center. I just know that we were asked to drop right away. So we are.
Okay.
It's for the acreage, extension.
I have another question. So, I brought this up at the last committee meeting and this is back in November, and you and I specifically talked about it. This isn't related to the current phase, it's related to the overall plan, but I made a specific request that the exit coming out of the neighborhood, it's coming out right into my side, like my lot's like this, and it's coming in like right here. And when cars turn left, out of the exit, we're gonna get a lot of lights just shining onto our house, okay, late at night. So I made a request that exit be relocated, down about like 50 or 60 yards, because then it would go, the exit would go into the condos that are going in the patio homes. And there's a big hill right there. So all that light shining would condos, so you would actually hit that hill. Otherwise, it's going to go right to it's going to go right to my wife's office.
You're the home directly across from one of the entrance. We did move that down, what, 50 or 60? Anyway, it was like the equivalent of one lot. We moved it down to the east.
Okay, because I didn't see that. I looked at the preliminary materials.
Yeah, it wouldn't be in this final development plan because that doesn't hit until like phase 2 or 3.
Okay.
But on the approved final development plan, approved preliminary development plan at the trustees that was reflected in that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Can I see that? Is there a way to look if I can see that?
Yes.
Like I said, I didn't see it in the materials.
If you email it to me tomorrow, I'll email it to you, but you can also get it from Kathy.
Okay.
It should be on our website. But once again, since it's not this big, we don't have the materials. Okay. All right, anything else? So, please tell us your intentions.
Okay, so I was trying to text the owner of the company. He had a baby today, so he's not available. So I can't deviate from my ask this evening. So I'm going to go ahead and ask for a vote and approval for the final development plan as submitted, as it meets the requirements of the approved preliminary development plan by the trustees. In future sections, I'd be willing to discuss it. Well, let's say, after this meeting, I'd be happy to revise the text and resubmit it, get you the actual elevations and materials.
So phases 2 through 10, we would not have this conversation. Is that what you're saying?
The ask is going to be the same, but I will make sure that I have that.
Yeah, because when we get this book, I guess, this is our little Bible.
Same. This is why I always have to put up binders.
Right.
My office has them all lined up.
Right. And to my mind, we're not quite there.
I agree.
So I think you appreciate the difficulty that creates for us.
I do. I
We
understand.
appreciate the difficulty that creates for you.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's difficult to resolve.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I know I'm putting in a bad decision. A position has to move this evening. But
All right. Do we want to make a motion to approve items?
Make a motion to reject the application as submitted.
For BZC 16-001?
Yep.
What's the number 2?
That's the amendment to it.
And then
We don't.
But you don't know.
We don't have.
Still the same here. If no one to.
This is.
The application doesn't have an address.
Well, that makes it even a little more complicated.
What's the issue? I'm not understanding.
What's that?
What's the issue? I'm not understanding.
So, what I want to say, the form that states what we're voting on tonight is BZC 16-001, it came from 2016, it was the first, hearing. But it also includes Second Amendment, the Second Amendment that we had when we first met for preliminary. But that's not part of the final.
Okay. If I may say, and again, in my opinion, I know it differs from yours, but that amendment or that, what do you call it, amendment was overruled by the public.
Yeah, your opinion is that amendment is gone. That's in our materials.
Say that again?
I said that's noted in the materials as what we are actually voting on tonight.
Oh, okay.
Is that case.
Still moves forward.
Right. Huh.
You guys want to take like a 5-minute recess? That would be wonderful. If you want, Mr.
What are we wanting?
Did you want to take a brief recess so I could discuss something with you?
Yeah, do you mind if we recess for a few minutes? Say 5 minutes, please. Okay.
I touched base with the owner.
Okay,
I knew she might be interested.
okay.
I don't know what all you discussed. Are we back on the record?
We're back on the record.
Okay. I did get a hold of the owner, and he's willing to table it tonight so we can
Okay.
get this properly resolved.
That would be, I think, best for all parties, honestly.
I didn't want to do it without talk, this was my preference. I just didn't want to do it without checking me.
And we understand, we understand. So, I would like to see your 8 conditions incorporated. I would definitely like to see our amendment number 2 addressed, as that is.
Okay.
And I will be talking to our trustee liaison, and probably our council too, because this is so
I was gonna say,
different than
yeah, we're gonna have,
anything we've run into before.
right, we'll have our attorney talk to the county prosecutor.
I don't want to be contentious, that's not what I mean. I just want to understand.
I hate saying the word attorney in
I
in like
know,
a
yeah,
setting.
sounds horrible.
But we'll have our attorney talk to the county prosecutor
Okay,
and we'll figure that legal part of it out. And then in the meantime, I will incorporate. I thought I got all 8 of them, but I recognize I did that.
yeah, this is difficult, you know,
Yeah, I get it.
it's 2016.
Yeah.
We're really picking
Yeah,
up some
understand
pieces
it.
and a lot of change over a lot of time, so you are the first one. And I'm sorry.
I'd love to be the first one.
You are the travel balloon, you're the coal mine.
But the good news is, when I come back next month, we should have 0 questions because I will have.
Okay,
We did actually have, now that I'm recollecting, the actual elevation is drawn, because we did submit them to Evans Farm for approval. So I do have them, just not in a neat format, but I will have those to submit. I'll bring in material boards. I'll make sure that the text is revised, and I will have the legal opinion.
okay, sounds good. So, if we're going to table, we need to table to a time certain. So, do we know by when?
We have, the first week of January, we have nothing on the calendar.
That's what I was looking at, so the 14th. It doesn't seem like there's anything, right?
The 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Nothing.
That's not.
The 14th,
The 14th, we have a hearing. We have a hearing every regular meeting. For
Exactly.
like
So
the
you're saying to
foreseeable.
have a special meeting?
We're gonna have.
You can have a special meeting, yeah, different day.
I think, would it take that long? I thought we could just do it at the first part of the meeting.
We could if it's gonna,
It shouldn't take that long.
if the BZC feels it's something that will be fairly quick, we could do that.
I mean, you can do 2 or 3, I mean, we can stay till 10 o'clock at night too.
Yeah, not a problem.
You can, yeah.
I won't be here.
We can speak for ourselves there. So,
I just wanted to.
Oh, man, throw a monkey wrench there too.
do we know what's on the 14th already?
We do.
Because it doesn't say right there.
Let me check in the office and see if it says it.
On my page, I did everything.
Well, I think it looks like we're moving towards January 14th.
Okay.
Obviously, it would be helpful to have materials as soon as we can to review them, although I think everybody here, we're pretty clear on things.
I can conceivably get stuff up here, Monday.
That would be awesome.
The only thing I may not have is a legal opinion,
I understand.
which, I mean, you'll probably hear
We
that.
can hash that out.
You'll probably hear that before I hear
Hash
that.
that out. Okay,
14th is Arrowhead Evans.
so that's where Evans Farm.
So right in the next.
Are they at a time certain 7?
Yes.
Okay, so we would have to do this after that, and we have no idea how long it's gonna go.
But you can do it actually before it, and you can,
Can we enter?
you can do it 7 if you want, and then you can just like, continue that hearing. You can open it and then continue it till,
After the.
yeah.
I've never done that, okay.
Okay.
Do we have to let them know that though?
Yeah, on 14.
No, I mean, you could, and you could tell them that, but it shouldn't take, you wouldn't think more than
As long
half an hour.
as we have everything this time.
Yeah, it wouldn't take very long.
Okay,
Then they don't have to wait till after.
Bring everything
We've
you
done
think
that.
of.
You have multiple hearings.
I'm gonna make a motion then to table BZC 16-001 with amendment 2 filed by Rockford Homes at 999 Polaris Parkway, Suite 200, Columbus, Ohio 43240. To table that, please, to a time certain of Tuesday, January 14th.
Second.
Is that, and you could start, I mean, if you wanted to start early at 6:30, you could do it, or you could do it at 7. 7, okay.
7 o'clock.
7 p.m.
And was there a second on that? Was there, did
I
anyone
think
second it?
Keith did.
I did.
Keith, okay, Ms. Kaplan? Yes. Mr. Goja?
Yes.
Ms. Slopes?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
And Ms. Kaplan? Or who
Yes,
did I miss?
Christopher.
Sorry, Mr. Dickersford.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, thank you. I apologize for the confusion. We'll have it 100%. So, thanks.
I appreciate
Thank you.
that. Okay. Okay, so.
Congratulations.
Continued.
Oh, thanks. I'll pass that
All right. Do we have any other business before us this evening? Looks like, next meeting is of course the 14th. I will get down the procedure to open the hearing and continue the hearing and listen first. So hopefully, we get this stuff into Kathy. I'm not sure if she's taking time off for the holidays, but we should be able to have this, I would say, in our hands pretty easily before, long before that meeting. Okay.
Do we need to do anything? We wanted Tony to look at.
Well, I'm gonna be calling Megan, just, this has happened before, right?
Yeah.
And there's a disconnect between when the trustees change things and then it comes back to us, we don't have that blank filled in. And this time we had the, just the brief meeting minutes from the encounters that they had with the trustees, but they totally skipped this amendment, what happened?
Which whether it was skipped or not
Right.
called out.
So we don't have an understanding enough to proceed. Correct. And just for the future, I know that it was mentioned that they could build these homes 100% right. I felt like our standards have percentages about these things, so I'm very lost about that.
We do, but we also have a lot of other things in our code,
Right.
like silo garage percent. I mean,
Yeah.
that are not incorporated
You're not
into
part of
this. And it's
So I'm
just
very
glossed over.
confused.
This is gonna be part of the old zoning code and the preliminary
Right.
plan as approved in 2016.
Right. So, yeah, we are
So
dealing with.
really, you're really dealing with like
For us,
a totally
it was
different.
before we put in the
Right.
silo garage percentages.
Well, but is it? Because the preliminary that we actually did was in 2023,
We came back for an amendment, right?
Yeah.
that amendment,
So
but
we approved the amendment with those conditions.
with the,
Yeah, the zoning that applies to it is the zoning in place when their application is submitted.
Right. And that's gonna be the case for all of it this far. So this is not the only time we're gonna have this.
No.
So we do need some clarity. We'll talk to Megan. Depending on how that conversation goes, I'm likely to talk to Tony.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I want to get it right.
I mean,
we need to get it right, yeah.
as a board, you could draw the hard line and say no vinyl siding, even though it says that, we're not gonna accept it.
Well, we can say no, we can vote no. I mean, yeah, we can always vote no.
You can hard line it
So,
and draw the line in the sand down.
well, and, I want a little bit more clarity since this is the two-step, but since it's approved by the trustees, if we vote no,
What happens?
What happens?
Yeah.
because it doesn't go to the trustees again for,
Right, it's
we're
done.
not an advisory at this point. We have the
They need
final say.
an approval on a final, but on the other hand.
Right.
And the new book, yeah, is obsolete in this case. Right, and I probably need to hold that. As long as, we talked about densities being sort of fungible, and, I don't like it. I don't like it. But the truth is, the density that was approved for Evans Farm as this whole huge project, they don't deviate from it. What you guys are sort of implying is you feel like they are deviating. Now, Orange Township, I can't even.
So, that could be the, so that property just south, that's what we were debating. So again, when it was originally, the original Evans Farm plan was you know, any property that abuts your property is gonna be same size lot, minimum half-acre lot. So in that area, there was 54 homes supposed to be built. They've now said, no, oh, there's gonna be some duplexes, there's gonna be some, because they're trying to change the text of the document. And remember, in the original Evans Farm plan, those condos, all those high-density properties are supposed to be inside
Like
of that
central
1,200 acres.
Yes.
They're now moving them and sliding them along, really along Old State is what they're attempting to do, to sell that tranche. And they're saying, the density of the 1,200 acres doesn't change. But if they say, well, okay, that may be true, but in the allotment that you said, hey, we're gonna have comparable homes behind us, now they're jamming 168 in there, and they're patio homes that are a sixth of an acre. These other 4-unit townhomes. And so, to me, as you grind through this 1,200 acres, you start burning, and so what happens, you get to the end, and you say, okay, well, I'm close to my density, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna go to somebody and say, hey, we just tweak the density now, it's going to be, but when you blend it over 1,200, the denominator just blends it off, and you start changing a percent here, a percent there.
And the densities and the percentages, okay, but the lot sizes, I'm shocked that would change.
Well, but again, the density
Overall.
doesn't, that's what they keep saying, but, so now you think about, I have a half-acre lot that abuts that property. So now all of a sudden, you're gonna do, in theory, you could jam, you know, depending on the plan, and then at one end of it, they've got a 4-unit townhome. And they've got a couple duplexes where there's enough room I can jam one in here. So it really is, and excuse my French, it's a 10-pound sausage jammed into a 2-pound wrapper. And it's like, oh, we're not changing the density. They keep saying that. When we have a conference we're presenting at the Orange Township, we're not changing the density. Sure, at 1,200 acres, you're still so much undeveloped land, you can hold your original plan. But as you start jamming these things in tranches in, what's gonna happen is you're gonna get down to, oh, I've got this leftover. And so what do? Then you come and you say, hey, I need an amendment or a tweak. And that's what, you know, the other farm guy, you know, he gets bent out of shape about it, but it's true. And then the second thing is, you know, Old State, oh, it's a problem. It's a problem today, and I agree with you. But here's the problem. Jam 168 units, and they're saying, well, they're gonna be single-family homes, or they're gonna be, what are they, patio homes, which are geared to older individuals. But there's no restriction on someone buying it. So they go, so we should have no dirt bearing on the schools. Well, okay, well, but if anybody can buy, what are people gonna do? I'll buy a unit, I'll rent to a family that went to an old Mtg school. They didn't address that. Well, that's never gonna happen. There's all these absolutes that the Evans Farms folks 10 years ago probably had good intentions, but now that they've not sold, they've not spun, now all of a sudden you see these tranches getting done. You know, we're fighting this FCON one because in a lot that backs right up, there was only supposed to be 54 homes. And they're going, oh, well, it doesn't change the density. Sure, on 1,200 acres, but I'm not arguing the 1,200 acres. I would have argued that 10 years ago if they said, oh, this is going to be a condominium section. I would have argued it then. And guess what they've done? They just slid it to the middle, like they do now. And then, oh, here's all your half-acre lot homes that are comparable to your property. That's what they're doing, but they don't want to hear that. Because you heard, what was his comment? Oh, this is an Orange Township. You're 100% right. I have no clue.
You're doing.
But at the end of the day, because my point is accurate, that's what they're doing. They're jamming these things in quick. You know, the lot change and the lot sizes, you know, 54 foot is the unit size. I mean, that's tight. And now jam that up. If you've got, I don't know the size of your property, jam that up against that. Or you have a 4-unit condo. And so then here's what the other point's gonna be. Once they get it approved as a condominium area, then what happens if the patio homes don't sell? Well, you already kind of approved it, so I'm just gonna stick a few more condominiums in here. I'm gonna start jamming those in there. So you've got an Old State issue, you're gonna have a Hollenbeck issue. And you've also got Evans Farm, you know, oh, well, the density doesn't change. They keep selling that And then to my neighbors that came to the meeting, there was 110 of us. So I mean, how many times do you get 110 people showing up to a meeting like this? And everybody was saying the same thing. Look, this doesn't fit in there. Oh, it doesn't change the density. The density doesn't change it. Again, I've already once heard it 800 times. And then the other time people are like, well, there's not gonna be any kids. We're all selling to an older adult. But you can't preclude that. That's illegal. You can't preclude selling to whoever. So if I want to enroll in TNG schools, what do I do? I'll buy one of these condos. I'll buy one of these. I'll get it. And so this Evans Farm thing is really starting to steam only because their plan 10 years ago failed. Their traffic study is 10 years old. What do you think that traffic study would say today?
Yeah, aren't the traffic studies intended to be a 10-year?
No, not that long.
Isn't
Especially
it?
with as much development we've had. I mean, look at
So
this.
I'm curious if they're at some point gonna require.
And when you look at what our club said, even if it would have gone off of what the plan for the area was, the plan for the area has changed so drastically
Dramatic.
in the last,
That was
9 years.
that was a big, that's why the trustee meeting went multiple meetings.
Yeah,
Because some of the trustees wanted to know what does the overall plan look like? I wasn't at those meetings, I don't know.
But I
the
agree,
outcome
like,
is.
it keeps getting kind of like a cheaper deal. for
It does,
the-
yeah, I mean, I was
But
like,
then you don't see vinyl
I was
on the
sharing
top
this with
center.
Rick, I was, when I got the notification, whatever it was last November, it said, you're being invited to this meeting, it's a meeting about the, formerly Evans Farms, now Rockford Homes, and I mean, I don't swear very much, but in my mind, I'm like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah,
what happened to all these high-end homes, front porch living, no parking in the street, and all that? So there was already that shock value, and then I come in here, and I'm glad they're not here, because he said,
No.
natural looking siding, it's better, he basically indicates it's better, and people want it because vinyl siding is more environmentally friendly, it doesn't have to be painted, cut up trees and all that kind of stuff. So he made this pitch that it looks just as good as vinyl siding, and then, but vinyl siding doesn't. I mean, I agree, I mean, I think there's good patterns to it, if you do have that natural look, I kind of seen that. Yeah, exactly, like, if you look at it from a distance, it kind of looks like cedar siding, so to speak, but I was thrilled when you guys asked for samples, I mean, because I thought, okay, there's the safeguard, to make sure that, and, I mean, I'm just shocked that he says he just forgot that, because
but it almost, like, when there's situations where we have a developer that says, well, I'll agree to all these conditions, it's almost like maybe we should stop doing that and require them to leave.
yeah.
Say, you can go back and rewrite your whole thing and come back with
And
it.
they had this in the last meeting, where it's a one step now, and they came and they handwrote beautifully all the conditions.
Oh, yeah.
My instinct, and I'm not saying I'm right, is to go, no, I won't do that. Bring us to plan with that.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I can do that, but I would like to do that.
You can do that.
Yeah, I do.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So that's why with the one
Like
step,
that.
with the one step
That's
in my previous experiences, you have the meeting, you have multiple meetings at the zoning level. So when it gets to the trustees, all of that's
It's
taken
done.
care of.
It's done. Well, I'm gonna give that serious thought, and I'll probably talk to Megan about that. I'm not a fan of the one step, although what happened tonight makes me look a little bit more favorably at that. Nothing's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, a planning commission for where I was at in the township, it would take 3 or 4 meetings.
Yeah, I do think the expectation that we knock this out of the meeting is not realistic.
And we did a 1,500 home planning commission meeting, and it took a year.
Well, I think we don't have anything else. I wish you a lovely one.
That's right.
Something to say.
Yeah, it's all right. So, a couple things, so we talked about, and Megan's email talked about that there's training,
Yes.
but it didn't say anything about where the training was or when it was.
Online. It's virtual.
I could be mistaken.
Okay, I must have missed that. I'll go back and read it again. And then she also brought up I want to make sure everyone sends the email, to the clerk email address, I think that's what we're supposed to do, about whether or not you intend to stay on next year, because they need that confirmation. So even if your term isn't up, they still need that confirmation that you are, yeah. Yeah, so go back and read that email, because we all have to send an email stating whether or not we intend to stay on for next year, which I thought was interesting, because we haven't done that in the past, but they're asking for a reason, so we need to make sure we do
Who
that.
sent that email? Was that one?
Kathy sent it.
That was Kathy, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Kathy. Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that
I
everyone
asked for a pay
understood
raise
that.
online, but it didn't happen.
Double.
Let me see. Yeah, it's under it was from Kathy. She actually sent it yesterday, and she said, send the letter to Jeff Jordan, fiscal officer, clerk at Berlin Township, if you plan to stay or step down on your board. Please. And then she listed who is up when, whose term is up when.
I don't think I got it either. Are you sure that wasn't just to like the people that terminated? I
You just
have
come
an
in and talk
organizational
about it.
meeting.
Well, that's weird. Yeah, you guys didn't.
Maybe yours is the only term that's expiring.
No,
No.
mine was on there. She
No,
said-
it actually shows that Jenny expires on 3/1.
Mine
Maybe she's
doesn't,
trying to
'cause
get
I'm
me
on-
out.
Mine doesn't.
Do not do it.
So, yeah, it has, and that is kind of funny, because it's like she included some of us from BZA, some of us from BZC, some from BZA.
It might have to do with the terms. I will ask her that tomorrow too.
Maybe everyone that's
Yeah.
expiring this coming year.
I'm not, and I'm on it.
Maybe she did the opposite.
When is
Like,
your
she
term up?
sent you on and she was.
I don't remember.
Are you sure it's not up?
She gave you
Might be.
Yeah, it's a 5-year term.
But you haven't been in under?
No. No, I feel like I have.
Maybe, unless it was for an unexpired term, but I don't know how they do it here.
Wait, I
We
just
always
did
do
it hard.
their 5 years.
I think I have 2 more years,
You got up your sleeves.
I think.
Usually we
Pull
do
something out
unexpired
of
terms,
your
the
sleeve.
terms are set.
Grandmother with
December.
I swear when I
Yeah.
talked to her,
5 years and
I had to
someone's
do an
not
interview last
appoint them for the 3 years remaining of that unexpired
What
term.
was it?
But maybe.
She just asked why, if I was gonna stay on and why.
Maybe you want to ask about that, though?
I will.
Yeah.
So I don't, are you sure?
I will make these communications.
Yeah, it's
I
right here.
had
I had
Jenny
Jenny
letter.
Unless it's a different, but there's no Jenny on here.
I thought you pulled out your sleeve.
She must have messed up.
No, I-
Last year I had to talk to Megan and she asked why I wanted to stay on.
Okay,
So I don't feel like it's up yet. Maybe it is, I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know
and
what-
Darcy, if you're gonna talk to Kathy about that,
Clarify terms and,
I can talk to her, but if you're already gonna talk to her and you wanna talk
well,
about that, then
and
that's fine.
I will tomorrow. I'm gonna do these things.
Okay.
Unfortunately, my work healthcare, December is a very busy. month.
I'll be here
Yeah,
tomorrow, we have a
That's
cake
Matt
tomorrow.
Huggable, and they want to get.
Yeah, we have cake tomorrow, I'm coming in.
Yeah, so,
I smell pretty good in the oven.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, guys, do we have any more? Would we like to go home?
no, good luck to go
All
home.
right, motion we adjourn?
Second.
All in favor, let's go. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
It's nice meeting you.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome. I'm vocal and, you know,
No, I like
because
it.
I care, right?
Yeah,
I really
yep,
do.
exactly.
I mean, I care about you.
Yes.
I live here for
Yeah,
six
you came in,
Meetings, right? It's still waiting for you just to say no.
Yes,
Kind of
Yeah.
sort of, would that force
You
a?
couldn't start over.
no.
I like
I like
the-
They would have to go back